personally, I'm not a big fan of it because, I mean, it's one of those games where it's a sandbox in that you can roam around and do sandboxy kind of things, as in, you're free to pursue this quest, that quest, whatever, but it has annoying little rules like you can't kill civilians and you can't, like, rob people and stuff, and, I just think...
it's not realistic enough for you.
Well, it's not realistic per se. I mean, it's not like I'm not like I don't list my hobbies as wandering around the streets of Baghdad stabbing people. But I mean, it just strikes me that I just think it's a wasted opportunity. If you're going to have a sandbox style game, why put? I mean, it's not even like they're actually sort of, it's not something they didn't add. It's something they've added guards to stop you doing. So, like, I mean, if they'd said, like, oh, we can't be bothered to make it so that you can roam around stabbing people, or if someone gets in your way, or someone keeps begging you for coins, you can't kill them. What they've done is they've said, no, you just can't stab this guy.
So you feel a bit railroaded into...
Yeah, I mean, you have to be a good guy. And it's like, I'm an assassin. I'm playing an assassin in this game. Let me kill the guy who won't stop hassling me for a piece of bread, If I'm getting manhandled by lepers, I want to kill them.
The thing is, if they did that, you'd have more than one politician standing up and trying to get some coverage for themselves by saying that it was corrupting the moral youth or the morals of today's youth and things like that.
I think the thing I thought with Assassin's Creed is that when you first play it, I think it makes a great first impression. It sort of falls apart a little bit after that, because you probably start playing it and you think, wow, the Middle Ages, the Middle East, it's quite a unique sort of setting. Really, only Prince of Persia has come close to that, and obviously Prince of Persia isn't factual. It sort of just takes a little bit. So to be in, fairly realistic models of Jerusalem and Damascus is quite exciting, and they've taken a lot of the missions are based on historical characters, which is great. And the assassins, I mean, the English word assassin comes from an Arabic word for an assassination cult that was present in the Middle East, and they actually tried to kill Saladin and that sort of stuff. So they were there, they were in history, and then they've sort of taken what should be a really quite story-based game, because it's got such a rich setting, and sort of gone, well, let's make it a little bit GTA. So you get a living city, and you can kind of drive around on your horse. But yeah, you're right. There's no need for that sort of stuff. It's just kind of been added in to hodgepodge it up, and then it's been dumbed down. It's so easy. So you get these missions where you've got to eavesdrop on people, and all that involves is going to the big X on the map, following the arrows, crazy taxi style, and you get there and you press a button, and he sits on a bench, and then it's press another button, and you listen into the conversation. It's just
missions like that. A lot of them are just padding, which, and I mean, they're all right on an Xbox because you can get your little game award thing. It says, like, you've got 20 points, you sado. And,
if you made a game, is that what it'd say? Your first achievement would be for the game to just call you a sad loser.
Loser. You've played this game for 1,000 hours, you knob. But no, I mean, you can have those little Xbox awards, and, sometimes they're kind of fun because you can, it'll be like a little quirky part of the game that you get, like an award for. Like, for instance, I'm playing Tenchi Z at the moment on the Xbox, which is a similar kind of thing to an Assassin's Creed, except you're a ninja, which is obviously like 50 times cooler. But you get like an award for eviscerating hundreds of people, which is kind of your job. After kill number 500, you get a little pop-up. And, you can have those on the Xbox because that's what the Xbox Live thing's all about, little awards for things like that. But having those in not even having those rather, but having the game elements that you would be awarded them for on a PC game where you don't get awarded with any kind of special
and where it's a complete sort of anathema.
Yeah, it's a kind of waste of time.
No, very much so. The more you play the game, you just think, is this kind of it? Combat is doesn't seem that fluid. There's a lot of just wandering around from point to point. And when you actually do the assassination, it is just a matter of, you go into this square and there's this big cutscene that plays out, and then it's just a couple of buttons. There's just...
Yeah, in compared to sort of things like Hitman, Blood Money, which has been around now for a couple of years. I mean, granted, it's not the same setting, but I mean, that's in terms of killing, like assassination-themed games, it's a far superior game, even though it's a bit older. And I mean, it's like they've not actually, in terms of gameplay, they've not brought much to the table. They've got some nice graphics in there. They've got some nice free running, but even the graphics don't hold up too well when you get close to them. But
no, I was going to say, from a distance on the Xbox, it looks great.
Get close, and it's big
Yeah, textures are muddy and that sort of stuff.
The textures are a bit fishy, and things like the trees and foliage are kind of over. I can't remember the exact way to describe it. It's kind of like they're assembled from flat shapes. The trees,
and
several of
intercut.
them, which anyone who played Operation Flashpoint about 5 years ago will be familiar with, because that's how all the foliage was drawn in that. And you think it's a pretty cheesy shortcut to do it.
Yeah.
But I mean, it looks good at long distance. Just when you get close, it's.
I know. I just think it's a real shame, because I was playing it, and I actually went to Damascus fairly recently for a bit of a holiday, and it captures that part of the city really well. That sort of the closeness of it, and you can imagine, and as sort of what it would have been like hundreds of years ago, when it would have, no cars and just full of people, and sort of being the centre of this sort of hotly contested region. And it's great. It's really exciting, and the setting's really intriguing, and it's very unique. But the game itself just doesn't draw you in. I sort of had this copy, and I was going away, so I lent the copy to Phil, and I got back and I didn't find myself kind of thinking, wow, where's my copy of Assassin's Creed? I really want to get on with playing it. And yeah, once you've stopped playing it, that's it. It's not half as intelligent as it kind of seems to be, or as it almost should be, which is pretty disappointing. The actual game of what you do is not that good.
No, it reminds the closest thing to it, I think, in gaming history terms, if you could think back that far, is was it Dragon Slayer, the cartoon where you just had
Dragon's Lair?
Dragon's Lair, that's the fella.
It was originally on a Laserdisc.
Yeah,
it was a very long time ago.
Yeah, but it was basically back at the time, it was the best looking thing ever. But it was essentially
it's sad to think that one day Crysis will be like that. People will look back at it and go, "Wow, do you remember Crysis? That used to be the best looking thing ever, and now it looks."
Even by modern terms, Dragon's Lair doesn't look bad on account of the fact that it was essentially just a cartoon. It was just like watching a 1980s cartoon, and then you press the right buttons at the right time, and your guy survived. And if you press the wrong button, then he was eaten by a dragon or whatever bad guy was there. And Assassin's Creed, very similar, really.
Well, so that's where we've got to it. I'd be interested to know if people think that it's sort of, if you felt like it holds up better. I know there's a couple of threads on the forum going, and generally, it seems to have done really well. If you compare it, say, to Rainbow Six Vegas 2, which was the other Ubisoft at Xbox 360 port that was released about the same time. Vegas 2 has kind of disappeared completely, whereas Assassin's Creed has been hanging around the top part of the chart for quite some time. So it's obviously striking a chord with people. Number 5, Warhammer 40k Dawn of War Soulstorm. Anyone played this? This is the add-on pack, isn't it? That adds.
Yeah, this is the last attempt to squeeze the cash cow that was Dawn of War. I mean, Dawn of War was a fantastic RTS when it came out, and it's still really, really good. But Dawn of War 2 is in the pipeline, and it's quite clear that the guys at THQ have just said, well, we might as well give this a little squeeze. We can get a little bit more out of it before we go. And so they have. So they've dropped in the some Dark Eldar race and Space Marines missuses. Basically female Space Marines. And you've got Mr. and Mrs. Space Marine now. And I'm sure they are different in some way, in terms of the background and that. But to actually play it, it just felt like slightly new races, and it's good that they continued it. But no, I don't remember anyone actually asking them for these particular races. Everyone's been after Tyranids since the first game came out, so I mean,
that's what the people want.
Yeah, I think they're going to have to either release those in Dawn of War 2 or risk being mugged by rioting Games Workshop fans in huge numbers just descending on the place. But I mean, if you like Dawn of War, it's more of the same. So it's all.
Can't be that bad.
Yeah, it's not bad. I mean, you can't. They've added some further tweaks to the single player campaign systems, trying to make it a little more almost Total War like. I mean, it's not quite there yet. But
all right. Well, so not a blatant cash in, but not exactly a must purchase.
No.
Number 4, Call of Duty 4 Modern Warfare, doing well, although it's about 6 months on now since it first came out.
Call of Duty for me is everything that Crysis wasn't really.
So you're definitely in the COD 4 camp.
I'm very much in the COD 4 camp, and I fly the flag proudly. I find that the graphics in Call of Duty are pretty much up there with Crysis, but it actually runs on modern systems that exist. The multiplayer aspect of it is brilliant.
That's good. We can get you on the Readers Night server, which has been underpopulated by the staff of late.
Oh right, okay. Well, I will.
You get to walk around, and the readers go, "Are you really on the staff? You're really on the staff?" And if you say yes, they just kill you.
All right. Well, I'll probably get killed quite a lot then, because